Today we're talking about Forza Horizon 5. Once again, here we have a new Horizon game. These are spin-offs from the main Forza series that are a bit more hardcore and simulation. The Horizon games here embrace a bit more fun and craziness with a music festival party style atmosphere around racing and just tons of stuff to do. Now, the newest 5 takes the adventures to Mexico with a more varied world, of course, more stuff, and really just bringing some improvements and developments along that cropped up throughout Forza Horizon 4's years of community support. It's very much more Forza, with a couple of strange new spins, but really just a big old pile of fun. And also, just so you know, we've been playing a review copy for the past week, and all of the footage here is captured on an Xbox Series X. Now, the Forza Horizon games are solid because they find a great balance between hardcore realism and fun arcade-style racing. There are tons of options to fine-tune how you want the game to play. And there's quite a few sweet spots to it. The game does a great job of setting up the excitement with a really cool cinematic intro that takes you through various locations and vehicles swapping on the fly, and once that's done and then you're out there, it's good at easing you into the world. You start with one centralized festival with a couple of different race modes and open world random activities, and then as you do stuff and win, you level up, increase your ranking, and get to choose the next big event style thing, which will open up more activities on the map. It's all extremely non-linear. You can unlock whatever you want whenever and kind of progress how you see fit. Honestly, the game throws so much at you that you might forget for a bit that you were progressing to more modes, and then the game will remind you because there's so much stuff to work through. We'll get to more of that in a bit. Now, the game at least keeps the progression and stuff straightforward here. You're not trying to become a famous racer. You kind of already are. You show up. You're not trying to level up by growing a social media account follower number, like arbitrary stuff like that. No, just regular old rankings and leveling and unlocking stuff. Now, it might make for like a little bit less cohesive personality in the presentation, and that's just like a super nitpick because the previous games were so on point with how everything flowed, so you probably won't notice. But interestingly enough, the game does have a surprising amount of personality still. I mentioned that you're already a famous racer. You create your own character with like a nice couple of options and show up to Mexico to race the Horizon festivals. But there are cutscenes with your character talking and other characters introducing you to the world and races, and there's a bunch of dialogue, and that's usually a huge red flag for me in games like this. I don't need story. It's admittedly like a weird choice. I don't know, man. But I will say it's nice and it's slight here and manages to work and make things feel slightly less lonely and a teeny bit more fresh. I really don't care much about what they're saying sometimes, but it's not that deep. It's mostly anecdotal type stuff. You do some missions where you're riding along with enthusiasts or like scientists collecting high-speed data, and they'll give you a story about an old car or a little bit of history of Mexico. And every so often there's like a nice little nugget in there. But speaking of that, the real star is Mexico itself, man. Even if it sounds cheesy, I don't care. It is the biggest character in the game. It's a huge world with a ton of variety. There's like mountains, flat deserts, dunes, some woods, lots of jungles, mud, small towns, city streets, beach straightaways, volcanoes, ancient ruins. There's so much, and like every 60 seconds on the road, the game can look completely different. And there's enough where like if you're into a certain type of thing, you can stick around and get a lot out of it. Like, do you like blasting your way through a muddy jungle in a fresh new Ford Bronco? The game gives you a lot of opportunity for that and rally races. Got a wild Ferrari you want to blaze down the highway? There's plenty of races and challenges to keep you busy. Maybe tight streets and corners with a Nissan Skyline? Also, plenty of modes and things to engage with that. My personal favorite has just been getting in a Baja truck and bouncing around on the sand dunes. And also, there are some really great switchback courses all over the mountainous areas that are just really satisfying to drift around. But if we're keeping it personal for a second, I find myself hooked on this game because there's always something to do, yeah, but also just how the game consistently rewards you. every time you take a cool turn, or get a near miss, or break a new speed record, or even just discover something, it's always being tracked, and you're always filling up a meter or a bar somewhere. I don't know, my lizard brain just likes that feeling of accomplishment. The game is drip feeding you currency and new cars and clothing items for your car, and of course barn finds, which are really, really well done in this game in particular. The way it works, the way they're presented, the little bit of story context, I actually really like. But you're also earning randomized rolls that can give you more money, more cars, stuff like that. Every time you level, you can buy cars or earn cars, and then of course customize them with different liveries and even tweak some cosmetic stuff, and most importantly, fine-tune the car. The detail, once again, is freaking staggering, and there are like over 500 cars. It is really fun to grow a collection, and I've gotten a kick out of selling the occasional car in the in-game auction house. I've made a ton of money like flipping this big weird Mercedes off-road truck so I could just buy another one of my favorite weird 80s Ferraris. Now all of this stuff, it can of course be overwhelming. It's sensory overload, you know, a jam-packed map, tons of menus, multiple different screens of different rewards and stuff to track. It's messy at times, so just be ready for that going in if you're new to the series.